Have you ever wondered why some women radiate a quiet, magnetic power, drawing respect and admiration without ever raising their voices? The secret isn't about making noise. It's about mastering your emotions and cultivating stoic strength that speaks even in silence. Discover how harnessing soft stoic principles can unlock your deepest value and transform how you face every challenge. 5 ways to hold emotional power. Soft stoic strength. Compiled and published by Stoic Bloom. Lesson 1. Awareness is the first strength. Imagine standing on the edge of a quiet forest at dawn, mist curling through ancient trees, the whole world hushed, holding its breath for the first rays of sun. In this silent space, there is an undeniable strength, a stillness that commands respect, not through noise or agitation, but through presence alone. This is the essence of emotional awareness, the unmoving mind at the center of the storm, the unseen archer whose focus determines the fate of each arrow. Yet, in our fast-moving world, many find themselves lost in the noisy wilderness within their own hearts. Emotions can rush in like sudden tempests, stirring up shadows and doubts that we struggle to name. You might recognize the sensation: a meeting gone poorly, a criticism ringing louder than it should, or a fear that jumps out from nowhere and tugs your thoughts off course. So many hold themselves together on the surface, while a wild current churns just below, threatening to pull them away from their intentions. This invisible burden of not fully understanding what you feel is perhaps the most common struggle on the path to self-discipline and true emotional control. When you don't recognize your emotions as they arise, you can become a captain at the mercy of a hidden storm, lurching as waves slap at your ship, unsure whether to weather the storm or drop anchor. What makes this silent turmoil uniquely difficult is how easily it passes unnoticed. It is quieter than anger, subtler than tears. It is the tension in your jaw when your boundaries are crossed, the low hum of worry before you try something new, the vague ache of disappointment you bury beneath duty or distraction. Everyone has known this struggle. Every strong woman, every silent stoic, every person brave enough to want more peace at their core. What all these moments share is the unvoiced question: why do I feel so much? Why can't I switch off my reactions and simply be calm? The trap, of course, is not in feeling, but in not witnessing that feeling with clarity and care. The root of transformation lies here: awareness, the first true strength. If you have ever watched the ripples spread across a perfectly still lake after a single pebble falls through the air, you already understand this truth on a deep level. The lake cannot stop the pebble from falling, but its glassy surface reveals every movement, every echo that crosses its depth. So it must become with your mind. Emotional mastery begins not with suppression, but with stillness and sight. The power you seek is in choosing to see yourself as you are, without judgment or rush, so that every internal quiver can teach you something vital. Developing awareness is not an ancient art reserved solely for monks atop windswept mountains or philosophers recording lines in cold stone libraries. It is the accessible, living science of daily noticing. The small act of pausing, of making space before you react, of letting yourself name and honor each feeling as it arises. Consider the Stoics of old, whose quiet influence still ripples through time. They trained their minds not by denying their hearts, but by noticing their own inner surges of joy, irritation, fear, or longing, and greeting each one as a valuable messenger. Imagine yourself as a sentinel at the gate of your inner world. You do not allow every wild urge or passing doubt to race straight through. You halt, observe, and ask, what has arrived within me? What is its shape, its message, its request? The most profound power often lies in the things we do not see, until we choose to see them. Emotional awareness is a lantern in a darkened corridor. It gently illuminates your internal world so you can walk its passage with confidence. At first, the habit seems small. You catch yourself growing tense in conversation and quietly ask, what am I feeling right now? In a moment of sudden sadness or a spark of envy, you briefly pause and notice the sensations, the messages beneath. Over time, each act of seeing builds clarity, like an archer training their eye through repetition, learning to trust their aim even when the target is hidden by mist. This skill accumulates, gently but inexorably, until awareness becomes your undroppable shield. The benefits are as subtle as they are powerful. As your awareness grows, emotional turmoil loses its mysterious grip. Where once you were knocked off course by hidden waves, now you feel the first shift in the wind and have a chance to respond with intention. There's dignity in knowing exactly what you feel and why. This is how leaders, silent luminaries, and those who inspire trust carry themselves with such apparent ease. They do not force their emotions underground. Instead, they hold a clear mirror to their inner world, seeing and accepting all that is reflected. In this way, emotional control ceases to be control in the harsh sense. Instead, it becomes an inner calmness that cannot be shaken, a foundation for wisdom and powerful action. To make this wisdom real in your own life is not a leap but a step. Picture yourself as a ship's captain at dawn, studying the currents and clouds, attuning yourself before setting out to sea. Every act of conscious noticing, every pause to reflect, is a training of your mind. You become both the observer and the observed. This witnessing pulls you out of reactivity, out of self-doubt, into a place where you can be silent yet sharp, aware yet unbothered by turbulence. It is here that you begin to unlock the undefeated quality of soft Stoic strength. When emotions arise, you no longer fear them as invaders, nor try to suppress them as embarrassments. You listen, you learn, and you ready yourself to steer true. As time passes and you cultivate this gentle, ongoing awareness, you realize that the greatest impact is created not by those who shout, but by those whose presence is centered, attentive, and alive. You unlock your innate ability to master emotion, to wield silent power, beginning with the simple, constant act of seeing yourself clearly, moment by moment, as the quiet sun rises within. This is the foundation upon which all other Stoic virtues will be built. Begin by pausing briefly throughout your day to notice your feelings, name them gently, and reflect before reacting. This mindful attention builds your emotional insight and unveils new self-understanding every day. With steady practice, you'll unlock calm, focus, and inner power. Next, learn how to let emotions flow without collapse. Subscribe and join our journey forward. Lesson 2. Let emotions flow without collapse. Picture a mountain stream during spring thaw, water surging and carving its way through ancient stone. The stream does not fight each drop of melting snow, nor does it panic when the current swells. It flows onward, never becoming less of itself in the rush or the gentleness of its journey. There is a poise in this movement, a meticulous looseness, a silent lawfulness that echoes the very nature of strong emotional mastery. The goal is not to be untouched by feeling, but to allow your feelings to surge through you with the quiet power of a river that knows its own course. This is what it means to let emotions flow without collapse. Many of us are taught from a young age to fear the intensity of our feelings, to bottle anger, to hide sadness, to bury our vulnerability under layers of composure and disconnected smiles. Perhaps you recall a moment, standing in the center of a stormy crowd or lost in your room late at night, when you felt a wave of emotion crash over you. Fear, sorrow, frustration, so deep it left you winded. In those moments, we often believe our only options are to let the emotion swallow us whole, or to force it into a dungeon deep inside, where it grows heavier and less manageable with every suppression. Some imagine emotion as a roaring wind that topples everything it touches, best only handled by bracing hard or running away. Both of these strategies breed more turmoil, and neither offers true Stoic strength. The deepest pain comes from thinking that feeling deeply is weakness. You may look in the mirror and wonder why you're moved so easily, why anger, disappointment, or longing endures long after the world says you should carry on. Even the smallest setback, a careless comment at work or a missed friendship call, can evoke a downpour within. Each wave whispers a story. If I let myself really feel this, I'll lose control. If I don't feel it, I harden into someone I don't want to be. This tension between overflow and denial can leave you stranded, desperate for acceptance but fearful of vulnerability. It leads to emotional collapse, not because you felt too much, but because you never learned that your emotions, like rivers, are meant to move and not to stagnate. The transformative solution lies in allowing your emotions to flow, but refusing to be drowned by them. Think of your mind as the orchestra conductor. Your feelings are powerful music, sometimes haunting, sometimes revelatory, sometimes thunderous, or heartbreakingly soft. The conductor's genius is not in silencing the instruments, but in guiding them into harmony, allowing intensity without losing the integrity of the whole. As a silent Stoic, your discipline comes not from cold detachment, but from skillful presence, noticing where the flood is rising, holding steady, and permitting yourself to feel, but under the steady watch of your awareness from Lesson 1. The technique is as gentle as the universe is turning. When emotion arises, whether it is bright joy or shapeless dread, practice granting it space to exist without rushing in to shape, judge, or suffocate it. Imagine yourself the rooted tree on the riverbank. The river swells, passes, and you remain, bending but not breaking. You become curious about the feeling. What space does it want to occupy? Is it old or new? Can you simply feel the burn of regret or the sting of embarrassment? For a few mindful breaths, warm it with compassion instead of shoving it down or explaining it away. Openness is not surrender. It is guidance and mastery by consent. A dance with your own nature instead of a constant fight. The benefit of this approach is profound and practical. When you let emotions flow, really flow, without suppressing them or letting them dictate your every move, they begin to lose their power to undo you. You experience the full depth of each feeling, and in doing so, gain resilience and wisdom. Like the archer who draws their bow in silence, waiting for the moment when aim and breath align, you practice patience with your inner life. Slowly, you realize these surges are not threats to your existence, but waves carrying lessons, and with every crescendo and lull, your empathy, courage, and insight grow. This isn't merely an ancient platitude. Modern research supports the timeless Stoic wisdom that openness to emotion strengthens mental flexibility, restores physical calm, and unlocks creativity. When you accept your emotional states as passing weather, not as commands locked to your core, you stop being at the mercy of internal storms. You find that even anger or panic can be acknowledged, felt, allowed safe passage, and then released. This is the art of being undefeatable in spirit, not by denying nature, but by aligning with it. Picture a disciplined soul hued by the warmth of the flame, but neither singed nor consumed. The stillness within you becomes a fire that tempers rather than destroys. You can be graceful, even when you are burning with sadness or surging with love. Your boundaries remain, but your heart does not close, and others are drawn to the mysterious composure you create. You stop dreading your own depths, and life's knocks become training grounds instead of threats. This is emotional control at its finest, a mastery that attracts not through glacial composure, but through a resilient, transparent vitality. Begin to live this by granting each emotion its space, tracing its course without fear, and trusting yourself to remain whole through its rise and fall. In this practice, the impact you have on your own life and those around you deepens palpably. You do not become invincible by growing numb, but by allowing your inner river its bold runoff, controlling your ship from the helm even as the winds change. This is how you unlock that silent, unbreakable Stoic inside, training your mind not against emotion, but with and through its infinite, flowing power. Take a breath, feel your emotion fully, and simply observe it without judgment. Practice letting each feeling flow in and out as you stay present. This creates strength, clarity, and peace from within. Get ready to discover how inner calm anchors you. Join us in the next lesson, and remember to connect, share, and stay inspired. Lesson 3. Inner calm is your anchor. Imagine an ancient harbor at sunrise. Ships rising and falling gently on the tide, thick ropes coiled neatly on the dock, the crisp air filled with the promise of journeys yet to come. Beneath the waters, a heavy anchor lies hidden in the depths, quietly holding each vessel in place no matter how rough the sea turns. This anchor, strong and unseen, gives those ships their steady balance amid swelling waves and changing winds. It is a poetic image, but also a living symbol for one of life's most vital and overlooked powers. The creation of inner calm as your unshakable anchor in turmoil. In the daily currents of our lives, we all know how quickly inner peace can feel out of reach. The world presses upon us with its demands, voices, and swirling emotions. Sometimes it seems that no amount of planning or effort can keep anxiety or frustration at bay for long. You might find yourself wide awake at night, mind racing after a difficult conversation, reliving moments or conversations you wish had gone differently, troubled by the what-ifs and if-onlys. Or perhaps the unexpected strikes during a busy day, and you are caught in a storm of reaction, heart pounding, every muscle tightening, an inner tide threatening to sweep you from the shore. In these moments, even small triggers can feel overwhelming, as if you are a small boat tossed without anchor at the mercy of a random, restless sea. This difficult truth is universal. Everyone, no matter how composed they appear, faces moments when the world feels too loud, too fast, or unbearably uncertain. Some people try to escape by seeking distraction, overworking, or numbing themselves. Others attempt to fight the storm, trying to discipline every thought, but find that effort alone cannot calm the internal waves. If you have ever chased serenity but discovered that it slips away at the first gust of trouble, you are not alone. The heart longs for steady ground, yet many struggle to build it from within. Here lies both the common pain point and the gap most never close. The failure to recognize that deep, unmovable calm is never gifted by the outside world, but forged in the crucible of your own steady attention. When calm is treated as something to find or buy or win, it will always remain fragile. But when you choose to anchor within yourself, even a trembling mind can rest easy, knowing it has a place to return, a sanctum untouched by circumstance. This is the ancient wisdom that Stoic minds understood. Chaos belongs to the world, but stillness is a choice we can train and claim every day. The transformative solution waits like solid ground beneath you. Learning how to cultivate inner calm, not by changing every storm around you, but by changing your relationship to it. This skill is both timeless and practical. It doesn't need you to be emotionless or perfectly centered at all times. Rather, it invites you to become the ship captain who knows how to drop the anchor when the winds start to howl, rooting yourself in the present moment and allowing your attention to settle rather than scatter. This isn't a cold detachment, but a living discipline, a warm steadiness available even during heated emotions or rushed days. Developing this inner calm asks only for small but purposeful shifts in awareness. When you notice anxiety or frustration rising, picture yourself as the sunken anchor. Breathe slowly and deeply, sending each breath as though it sinks into your core, heavy and reassuring. Visualize all your scattered thoughts and raw feelings settling around this anchor, and trust that as you breathe, the waters are being soothed. If an archer releases their arrow with calm precision and not in hurried fear, so does your heart find its target more easily when unburdened by panic. In moments of rush or chaos, remind yourself that inner calm is not absence of motion or stimulus, but a centeredness you choose and can return to again and again, like a lantern lighting the same hearth at dusk. There is transformation in practicing this skill, both quiet and profound. With repetition, moments of calm become easier to summon, like muscle memory for your soul. Arguments feel less incendiary, daily setbacks less crushing. You begin to notice, with a kind of marvel, that emotional storms may still appear on your horizon, but you are no longer thrown about by every wind. You can listen deeply without being rattled, make decisions free from the haze of panic, remain open even in difficult encounters. The impact spreads. You become someone who lends others their calm simply by being present. Your steadiness attracts trust, admiration, and respect. People sense the unspoken difference, a silent, stoic grace that quietly shifts rooms and relationships. For those who fear that gentleness at the core equals vulnerability to harm, think instead of the roaring fire in the mountain shelter. Its heat a shield, not an invitation to chaos. Calming your mind makes you stronger and more resilient, not less. You are able to observe fear, doubt, or even anger, but they no longer command your every response. Slowly, you unlock the skill to face pressure without flinching, allowing your presence to be a safe harbor not just for yourself, but for those you love and lead. In these ways, inner calm becomes the undefeated fortress, neither icy nor indifferent, but alive and responsive, grounded and wise, always drawn back to the steadying core you have patiently built within. This ancient wisdom is not distant or mysterious. It is alive and waiting in you, eager to be awakened and grown through honest practice. The next time emotion surges or external storms whip up chaos, remember you possess an anchor deeper than the surface winds. Calm is not absence of feeling, but the mastery of returning to your own steady wholeness, again and again, through every test and every day. To anchor yourself in calm, pause, breathe deeply, and focus your thoughts on the stability within you. Practice this whenever life grows stormy. Over time, you will greet challenges with quiet strength and confidence. Embrace your new steadiness and stay tuned. Next, you'll discover how purposeful boundaries create peaceful power. Connect with us by sharing your journey below. Lesson 4. Boundaries create peaceful power. Picture a garden surrounded by a low, sturdy wall, a place where the vines bloom bright against granite, where the world outside is allowed to exist, but nothing storms through uninvited. The wall is not a fortress built from fear, but a protector of peace that lets growth flourish within. There are golden rays of sunlight, the tender sounds of nature, yet also a sense of calm and order. This image contains a hidden secret for mastering your heart and mind. The strength to define and keep clear boundaries, not to isolate yourself from life, but to carve out the space where you and only you can truly thrive. Almost everyone feels the silent strain that comes without strong boundaries. It's that moment when a demand or expectation presses too closely, or when a conversation leaves you walking away heavy, wondering why you said yes when you meant no, or no when you longed to say yes. Many experience the constant tug-of-war between pleasing others and preserving their own peace, a quiet exhaustion of trying to manage what others think, want, or feel. Deep within, you may recognize how saying yes too quickly often invites chaos, or how fear of disappointing someone lets worry creep into every corner of your well-being. You might ask yourself why, with all the inner work you've done, saying or enforcing what you truly want can feel so daunting. In relationships, at work, even within family, the absence of boundaries sets an endless undertow that erodes emotional control, confidence, and the promise of becoming your strongest, most undefinable self. This struggle isn't a flaw, it's a result of caring deeply, of hoping to maintain harmony, or perhaps of years spent learning that accommodating others earns love, respect, or safety. But living always at the whim of what others expect twists your natural strengths out of shape and draws your energy away from your own intentions. It means you spend less time anchored in your unique purpose, letting energy seep out to the ever-changing winds, rather than being rooted like a tree with deep, strong roots and generous branches. Loss of boundaries can even make your emotions feel louder and less manageable, as if every passing opinion or wave of need becomes your own storm, a sure recipe for burnout and self-doubt. But there is a profound and empowering truth. Boundaries are not walls that banish love or connection. They are gates built with awareness and care. A life with strong boundaries doesn't close you off, but allows you to remain open, generous, and warm without being swept away by every tide. They teach your heart how to be unbreakable, but not unkind, letting lasting peace take root inside. Where before you felt called to handle everyone else's emotions, now you allow them to have their journeys while you claim the dignity of your own. The transformative solution lies in understanding what those boundaries are, what fills you with life, and where your limits lie before depletion or resentment set in. Defining these is not selfish, but deeply wise. Each act of boundary setting is a statement. My garden deserves sunlight, my mind deserves rest. Imagine yourself as an archer, every arrow fired in honesty, be it a gentle no to an overbearing request, or a bold yes to something that excites your spirit, lands exactly where it should. The archer does not apologize for the distance between targets. She trusts her aim and guards her energy with every choice she makes. This is the foundation of the undefeated, silent Stoic who can meet life's demands with poise instead of panic, noble restraint instead of resentment. To gently clarify this practice, a boundary is any line you draw to honor your needs, protect your peace, and let your best self emerge. It could be physical, choosing where and with whom you spend your time. It could be emotional, refusing to carry responsibility for moods or decisions that aren't truly yours to bear. It could be mental, turning away from gossip, negativity, or demands that overrun your mind's careful order. Setting these boundaries will probably feel unfamiliar, even unnatural at first, especially if you are used to flowing with others' wishes. That's perfectly normal. Each practice, in a conversation, a refusal, a conscious disengagement from drama, strengthens your inner resolve, forging a new pattern of respect for yourself and, by extension, for those around you. As you integrate boundaries into your daily life, you create a space where growth and joy thrive, with fewer interruptions from outside storms. It's here that emotional mastery is truly unlocked, because your inner peace no longer rises and falls with every passing demand. Your power becomes peaceful, persuasive, and magnetic, not because you shout or fight, but because you know where you stand and invite others to meet you there, on grounds that you have lovingly shaped. Others will sense this calm assurance, and even if they push or test those lines, they will eventually respect the garden you tend. Just as silence gives music its power, boundaries give your soul and your life its freedom to sing. Embracing this kind of discipline is a journey into a kind of freedom that is both ancient and startlingly new. It's the slow realization that your worth does not shrink with every no. In fact, each time you defend your space with grace, your value, strength, and ability to attract grow deeper and richer. You are now building the silent fire at the heart of your most disciplined self, one that looks out at the world warmly, but never lets the world uproot its center. Start today by choosing one area where boundaries are needed and clearly express your needs with calm confidence. As you practice, you'll find less resentment and more energy for your own growth. Embrace this new power and prepare for your final lesson, learning how grace under fire builds true respect. Stay with us and share your progress below. Lesson 5. Grace under fire builds respect. Picture a candle burning in the heart of a darkened room. The flame stands upright and golden, unwavering even as breezes swirl through cracks in the walls. The world outside is stormy and uncertain, yet within this small space, the light persists, casting warmth and clarity into every shadow it touches. This is the quality of grace under fire, a soft strength that not only endures adversity, but transforms challenge into a silent testament of character. To master this is to step onto a path where dignity is built not on comfort or praise, but on the courage to remain true when the world tests us the most. Everyone, at some point in life, has faced a moment when the air thickens with tension. The difficult conversation where voices rise and old wounds press to the surface. The sudden insult that lands out of nowhere. The confrontation at work or in family that leaves you shaky in the aftermath. These instances are more than just moments of conflict. They are crucibles in which our real strength, or its absence, is revealed. When treated wrongly or doubted, most people's first instinct is to react in kind, to match noise with noise, strength with strength, or to shrink away and retreat entirely. In these times, mastering emotion and reaction feels almost impossible, as if the fire swirling around you is demanding that you step into its chaos or else be consumed. Often the world rewards those who respond to discord with more discord, teaching us to fight or flee, to sharpen our words or fortify our hearts with defensiveness. But after the flames die down, many are left with a haunting question. Was that really me? Or was that just my anger, my fear, my need to win? The resulting cycle of guilt, regret, and self-judgment can be as exhausting as the conflict itself. You may have left a room certain you were right, yet feel strangely diminished or hollow, rather than grounded and full. The exhaustion of these fiery encounters saps our energy, damages our relationships, and at times makes us doubt our worth. The transformative answer is to discover and embody a new response: grace under fire. Imagine again that unwavering candle inside the tumultuous room. The flame does not fight the wind, nor does it cower. Its strength is in its calm resilience. To be graceful under pressure means to hold your dignity, poise, and generosity without letting yourself be baited or broken by stormy circumstances. This is not a call to weakness or retreat, but an invitation to show your undefeated spirit with thoughtful stillness and purposeful words. You become like the archer who pauses, settles her breath, and releases her shot calmly, finding the target not by brute force, but by trust in her center. This idea can seem almost mythical in a society that often confuses loudness for power. Yet, history and living experience both show that those who demonstrate grace in adversity win an admiration that outlasts spite or aggression. Colleagues, friends, even opponents will remember not only what you said, but how you carried yourself. When you respond to a sharp remark with kindness, or keep your composure while others lose theirs, you display not just control, but a wisdom and confidence that attract loyalty and respect in a far deeper way than any retaliatory blow could ever achieve. Cultivating grace under fire begins with a shift in internal focus. Instead of fixating on the heat of the moment, you train your mind to center itself in your own values and desired character. Before responding, pause, the silent Stoic's secret weapon. Take a slow breath and choose your next step, not out of wounded pride or raw outrage, but from the calm fire of self-respect, clarity, and purpose. With practice, this pause grows stronger, and so do you. The flames may not shrink right away. In fact, sometimes they flare even brighter when you do not match their heat. But over time, you realize you do not need to shout to be heard or threaten to make an impact. There is understated force and charisma in demonstrating you are not easily rattled and that your values stand even as tempests rage around you. Think of the ship that stays the course on silent, stormy seas, its crew trusting not only in their captain's orders, but in the way she stands at the helm. Upright, measured, and composed even as the rigging strains. As she embodies calm command, so too do those around her rally, their own fears soothed by her steady confidence. When you cultivate grace under fire, you not only bring calm to your own experience, but have a profound, positive influence on even the tensest environments and toughest relationships. You become a model, a magnet, a beacon for others seeking to rise above the ordinary crash of egos and emotions. To nurture this skill, it is important to remember that grace is neither rigid nor passive. It does not mean agreement, silence, or letting others trample your boundaries. It means standing firm in your truth with a softness that refuses to collapse or turn bitter. Actively choosing words and actions that honor both yourself and those around you. The flame may flicker, but it does not falter. Openness and self-control coexist, and in your centered response, you are undefeated and free. This path is open to anyone willing to practice it, and the rewards grow with every choice to anchor in dignity rather than drama. Through your gentleness under fire, you inspire trust, attract respect, and set a powerful standard for strength that does not destroy but builds. Quietly, lastingly, and from the inside out. The next time conflict appears, pause, take a deep breath, and speak calmly from your values instead of impulse. Each practice builds your confidence and the respect you command. Notice how you become resilient, inspiring to others, and peaceful inside. Embrace each test as growth. Start now and watch your true power quietly unfold with every choice. You've learned how awareness, emotional flow, inner calm, healthy boundaries, and grace under fire create lasting emotional power and silent stoic strength. Thank you for joining this journey of self-mastery and growth. If you found value here, please like, comment, and subscribe to support our channel and continue this path together.